Hi, LuAnn. Thank you so much for joining for Designer Business. It's great to see you again.
Hi, this is great. I'm so excited to be here with you ladies. It's fun to be on the other side of the mic.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are really excited to talk with you today about what we call growth markers, which is essentially those milestones you hit in business, those challenges that you inevitably face that really cause you to adapt and grow. And we know from all of your experience as the incredible entrepreneur that you are, you probably have tons of incredible stories and takeaways for us that you can share along with Shayna.
Hey, LuAnn, how's it going?
I'm good, girl. How you doing?
Oh, hanging in there like the best of them.
It's end of day. My skin teeth, but it's okay.
I'm trying to center my intercellular activity. But no, I'm stoked for you to be on the show. And so early on, so appreciative of that. And everything that the future holds for us, which we'll get into kind of down the line on this conversation. But I am totally interested to even hear the responses to some of these questions we are about to ask you, because through kind of, strategizing what this conversation was going to be about, I was like, I'm making a lot of assumptions for who LuAnn is, and like how she started, is she accidental business owner? Is she intentional business owner? We know who you are now. Everyone knows who you are now, but who was LuAnn at the beginning? Were we accident into business, or was it with intent? Talk to us.
Shayna, I have to claim technical here. The truth is that I started in business with my husband. So in 1982, we opened Window Works. But two things here. It was my husband's third business, and it was a franchise. And so even though it was my first foray into business, and it was 3 or 4 years before I went from being a salesperson in that business to being an owner in that business. And so I have a different trajectory than a truly, I'm going to come out, make my own business cards. I'm going to start my own business. But the thing about it is that the lessons that I was able to learn and watch and observe because of these two, there's 3 components here. Number 1, when you buy a franchise, you buy a system. Hello, you buy a system. Number 2, it was my husband's third business. So he's got some experience. He's made some of those school of hard knocks mistakes. And third, the other thing that we had in our corner is that he is a natural integrator, implementer personality. He is finance and operations driven. And so the truth is, within probably a year of having the business, he was rewriting the SOPs from the franchise. So, and then the franchise was saying, what's going on down, up there in New Jersey? You are literally doing 2 and 3 times the volume of the 10 stores that have been in business for anywhere from 2 to 8 years ahead of you, and you're killing it. And so, and it was because that he is incredibly process and finance driven.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is your journey began with a coach and a process.
You're exactly right, girl.
Right.
You are exactly right.
What I'm hearing is that even though we were given that process, as you grew, you had to return to the process, update that process, possibly reinvent, enhance, create new things, possibly new leadership roles throughout that journey. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go backwards a little bit. So we've got coach and process. Where's your super strength that you plug? Sales? You selling?
You're selling. No, like from the beginning, I was sales. We've hired as a salesperson for the company.
Totally.
It's so funny because you and Shayna have so many similar. Number one, both of you could sell anything to anyone. Like we all know that. And I think in this industry, we tend to talk about the creatives as sometimes not loving the business side, or those two things feeling disparate. But I think you and Shayna both have that special sauce for the business side of design. And that's what I think will make for a really interesting conversation and spin on this topic. So let's hear about LuAnn's early days. LuAnn, you are given, not given, but you have a franchise. You have a system that's supposed to be the playbook. What was the straw that broke your back that had you guys rewriting these things, recreating the systems, and ultimately succeeding past the other
No,
franchises?
it wasn't. In the first couple of years, there was no straw that broke a back. It was just like, there's another way to do it better. It wasn't just like, here, do this, follow it. It was like, well, let's critically analyze. This is great to have something. It's kind of like when I don't know, like when you do copywriting or you do anything or you write your own stuff, you write a draft. When I wrote my books, I would write a chapter on Monday morning. And then on Tuesday morning, I would get up and I would revise that chapter. And then on Wednesday morning, I would get up and I would revise the same chapter. And on Thursday morning, it was starting to look like what it was going to be like. And on Friday, I finished it. Because, if you're just like, here's the final version, it's not going to be the best version. So, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I can't write a book because it takes me 5 days to write a chapter. It's not a tragedy. It's not a misstep. It's a process. And so for us, when we get the SOPs from the home office, we're just constantly evaluating, is this the best process? Is this the best way to do it? What are you doing out there, Lou? That's different. What are you doing, Vin? That's different. And it just became it's what your SOPs should always be. They should be a living, breathing document. And to what you were saying, Shayna, it's like you have to reflect. You have to look back and go, not just look back once a year, but look back at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Look back at it every week. We have team meetings every week where we evaluate all the things that happened the week before. Good, bad, ugly. What gets changed? What gets repeated? What gets thrown away? Right? Because if you wait till the end of the year to do these kinds of evaluations, you're going to forget 68, 50, 60, 70% of the stuff that are the real things. And even like today, before I got on this episode with you guys, we just went through an orientation with LuAnn University, and it was a good orientation facing to our attendees. On the back, I'm like, what's that orange color doing on our graphics? And I'm like, why isn't the title say the class name, right? And so on the back end, I'm texting going, make a note of that, make a note of that, make a note of that. And then when I got off, I said, I know we're moving at the speed of light right now because we're in launch and it ends on Monday. I said, but put it on your running list of the things that we're going to revise and adjust. I've been doing LuAnn University since 2019. This is 2025 in real life. It's like I'm adjusting it as I'm going every day. You know what I'm saying? It's little tweaks to get it better. So there was no moment at least in that point. It was from a standpoint of operational efficiency. There was no moment like this is broken. I know that is a real moment for business owners that don't start out with a process, that just like, here I am, I'm a designer, I got a business card and I got a degree, or I got a degree of hard knocks, and here I go. And it's like, that's fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like what Shayna calls her cowboy days. Like she was selling anything, closing anything, doing it any which way because she could. She wanted to say yes to every business she could get. And that doesn't, that's not sustainable forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're selling, right, window treatments, custom upholstery, just that whole custom world,
Right.
soft treatment, soft goods upholstery. Yeah.
100%.
So, okay. So you plug in with a coach and a process. Same thing though. Like I'm out in the Hamptons, I'm working for someone else, selling, all the same stuff, custom window treatments and blinds, all the lines, Hot Hunter Douglas, I think Q Motion and Lutron were like making their pathways like at that time. And process was provided to me. You were your one man sales show that you sold the client, closed the client, typed up the estimate, did the invoice. I mean, you taught us how to run our own business, which ultimately did not play out so much in my favor. When I took that job, I was like, I'll start at any rate as long as you're telling me that I can sit in your seat at the end of the game. I'm in the game. And he's like, when can you start? I'm like, tomorrow. Get me out of the bar.
Were you a window treatment salesperson?
I was full.
I didn't know that.
I started in the game So, and out in the Hamptons, there's no D&D, right?
Right.
So we had 3 locations. I became a manager of it, but that's what I was doing. And ultimately, my great aunt had always said, in sales, she's my great, track all your sales down to the penny. I want you to have a notebook and you track it. So what ends up happening is I am pulling in $750,000 worth of sales on my own, tracked down to the penny. You have me issuing the purchase orders. Like,
Right.
I know what the profit margin is on this
Right.
thing. You're paying me $50,000. And ultimately, all of my ideas I wanted to give to this other company.
Yeah.
I saw the need for people who just wanted those impossible lead times
Yeah.
and willing to pay, and it didn't
That's
really
right.
matter how much money you're telling me you're willing to pay. I'm like, I can't do it,
Right.
it's just what it is. So all these ideas I had, it came to a head. He didn't even let me put my 2 weeks notice in. When I got promoted to manage the locations, it came with going into one of their cottages. They owned a bunch of these cottages. I was supposed to have 30 days to get out. Like 14 days later, they're like kicking me out right before Christmas. It was crazy times, like when I left there. And I had a couple clients come and be like, we come to they saw how I was being treated. It was toxic. So clients were encouraging me, we come to the store for you. And I was doing design, I was designing someone's movie theater. Like, it was going beyond the level of what I was actually even supposed to be doing.
Right.
But yeah, encouraged me to go off on my own. And then also my grandfather. And I was like 24. He's like, what do you have to worry about? Like, you fall on your face at 24? Like, what are you doing? He's
The
like,
fall's
just
not that
go
far.
right now. Go. And so I just went for it. And ultimately, I had clients I was working with in New York City put together my version of a business proposal for Ash NYC, a major staging company in New York City, who was struggling to get drapery within that 1 to 3 week lead time. It all just started with one
Yeah.
product that kicked off the spiral effect of everything else. And within 3 months, I didn't have a place to live. I car hopped between friends. Another friend cleared out the garage and emptied out my Hamptons cottage. But within 3 months, I made my salary that I was making, and I paid my Upper East Side apartment because I had to pay the year in full. That's genuinely where it begins, right there.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Mental.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So it's been a journey of learning through a lot of failures, which,
Yes.
that's what it is, though. That's business, right? It's like, you fail, you learn, you pivot, you grow.
You're not getting out alive. You're not getting out without a failure. You're not getting out with some economic thing hitting you in the head. You know what I mean? It's like, you're just not. Like, everybody's upset now in real time. Is it a tariff? Is it a recession? Is it this? I don't know what it is. But what's the difference? What are you going to do? Take your crayons and go home? You still got to get up and do business. Just do it, And what happens is if it's your first economic downturn, if it's your first testy part in business, if it's the first thing you're failing at, it feels big, and it is big. I get it.
Yeah.
But
every
you got to get up.
marker. Yeah.
You got to get
Yeah.
up.
You got to keep going. That's the separation between, are you going to stay stagnant, stuck in the same habits, in the same mentality, in the same repeat, or are you going to get up, show up, shut up, and just keep going? Because the reality is this time will end, this patch, whatever it is. But oftentimes the parts that hit the hardest are your strongest moments to learn.
Absolutely.
And if you can't stop, reflect, and learn from it and implement that lesson, then you won't grow, and then you're on the hamster wheel.
That's right.
And we do talk to a lot of people that are on the wheel and are about, their knees are about to drop. Like, they're exhausted. How long can you run on the wheel, And there's a lot of lessons, and just learning who you are as a leader and what you need to do to show up for your team.
Right.
And give your team. And there's really 2 things, and just kind of decoding what you're saying is, you have strategy and you have a routine. And routine is where you succeed.
Right.
It doesn't stop at the strategy. It's like my biggest critical pain point, right? And you have to show up, right? You have these recurring meetings. You have specific strategy for what you're talking about in those recurring meetings. And you have this routine, right? When you're running a project, right? We would consider your book a project,
Right.
just as we would consider developing maybe the foundational onboarding process for your client journey. It's just that project, right? And a project has a strategy. You had a daily strategy to hit the mark. You showed up. You don't procrastinate. There's no excuse, right? And that's why you succeed. It really is that simple, but the hardest thing you'll ever do.
Right.
You don't have the ability to just decide to not show up, change the plan. I mean, you do, and you can do it, but you will feel how you're stagnant. It won't feel good. And then what can drive me nuts sometimes is not pointing the finger up and pointing the finger down, right?
Yeah.
When you are on that meeting and you're launching that, and that's business, right? You're developing new things. You have a certain set of foundation, but you're editing like as you go, that's what it is. You're directing that team, right?
Yeah.
You're not criticizing. You're like, hey, these are things we need to do.
Like, what's
right?
that orange?
This is your leadership style. They know to anticipate where your communication is coming in from because it's likely consistent. I know you use Voxer, maybe you text with your team, but communication is consistently funneling. And then you're not assuming either. You're like, hey, I know that you have all of these priorities on your plate, but just make sure it's on that list as what we would call a back
we
burner.
Have the autopsy for the whole launch.
So that when we slow, so when we slow, we're going to return to this. Write it down though, because my serial brain is going like, you better get on the train, right?
Yeah, LuAnn will already
sure.
be on the next one. It's on the team to bring her back.
When I come to that autopsy meeting, I'll be like, oh, that was like 25 things that I said we got to look at. Together we're brain dumping as we're going through like to your point, a project. So it would be the same analogy if a designer is going to take on like, a $500,000 construction project and it's going to be furnishings. It's like, there are weekly things that you've got to do and you've got to pay attention to, but to rewrite an entire process in the middle of the train rolling down the road, no. But don't lose sight of it. So we just keep a brain dump of, don't love that. That needs to change, blah, blah, blah. And then at our autopsy, we go through the whole thing and we're like, okay, how are we making this better the next time? And the other thing I just want to emphasize is, when you think about the analogy of writing the book, I'm not failing Monday through Thursday. I am iterating. I am making it better. And you have to take that same approach with your business. It's like you learned a new thing today that you didn't know yesterday. And that new thing is going to impact one part of your life, your business, your enterprise. And I can't if I do something a backwards way 50 times and the one day I figure out the better way to do it, I'm not going to sit there and bemoan the other 50 days. It's like, hallelujah, we found the better way. Let's just start using it. So it's just understanding.
Well, I think the hardest part about it, right, especially when you're first starting to create these processes and delegate, is also learning who you are as a leader. And who we are and what we can hold ourselves accountable to directly affects the process. And so when you're crafting new or you're given a system, it doesn't mean it 100% works for you. It's a baseline, right? That you have to figure out how you can consistently show up.
Right.
And it's not the same for everyone. And the technology we use is not the same for everyone. The communication channels you use is not for everyone. Someone can be so buttoned up, automated, with automated I mean, it's a dream. It's the lesser. Let's all be honest here. It is the absolute lesser of the bunch. But the most of us, right, are just juggling all of this business, trying to create inside of it, and also trying to learn who you are as a leader and how you can consistently show up for your team, right? For me, I'm like a live delegator. That's what it is now. Maybe I wasn't that in the early days because I had more time to get emails out and communicate and everything like that. But my team knows if I'm working on something, we delegate live, or I flood you with something prior to that call. So at least you have a baseline of what's going on.
Right.
We talk through it so you can really get my brain. Yeah, maybe it takes an extra 10, 15 minutes because it's
Right.
more conversational. They also know that once it's done, to get themselves back on my schedule, to talk about it, get that immediate feedback loop so it doesn't procrastinate in my
I
inbox
call
and
it a
get like 8.
dangling participle. Don't leave that thing dangling over there. And I got to say to you 3 days later, what about that thing?
Oh,
Like,
well, you know what? No, they'll follow up because we're a
yeah,
team of nags. That's what I say in our training. We're like, nag has a negative connotation in your home. Nag, very positive on this team. Very positive. So they'll nag and follow up like 6 to 8 times.
good.
Yep, that's it. Just, it's still not
Get on
happening,
the calendar. That's what has
And
to happen.
so sometimes that's what delegation can feel like if you don't change the communication flow
Right.
and it becomes this ping pong between all the communication is just like funneling to you. Now you're battling your inbox for your clients and you're battling your communications with your team. It doesn't feel better. It feels worse.
Right.
So you've got to create a routine inside that business that allows that communication to happen in just like an organized spot on your calendar.
Right. And it's different for everybody.
Everyone.
You can't, like you do. And when you talk about knowing yourself as a leader and knowing yourself as an entrepreneur, it's exactly right. Because my husband and I, we now run 3 companies between us. We have one company that we run together, and we have 2 others that we have nothing. We don't cross over to each other's stuff. But we're completely polar opposites. He is an implementer integrator. I'm a visionary. We do everything completely different. He literally said to me this morning, the one company that we run together, at 9, like at 8:30 in the morning, he's like, okay, so I'll see you at 10 in the Zoom. I'm like, we've had a standing partner meeting every Thursday at 10:30 for that company. So it's the 2 of us, our partner and our employees for that every Thursday morning. And I'm like, 10. It's 10:30. And he goes, we sent an email yesterday saying it was moved to 10. And I'm like, but see, did you send the email to me or did you send it to Mariali? You see, because I don't read my emails. He knows it. He's the only person in my world that refuses to accept it.
It's always them.
Right. But my point is, it's like, I'm not going to run my company the way he does. I need to do it verbal. I need to get this done. I need to leave you a message. You can take it and transcribe it and massage it and read it 16 times, but I'm already moving on to something else. And if you ask me to sit down and open my inbox, well, I'm going to be there for a week and a half. So no, I don't open my inbox. I'm like, I rely on Marielli. Every day she knows she has to read me the ones that are high priority and the others get parked in a document. And I don't know, every 8 or 10 days I look at it. I don't care.
Right. Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's like multiple times a day answering everybody, dotting the T's and crossing the I's. And so the thing about it is I think most designers are more right brain visionary. And when the systems and processes come hard and you resist them, I think a big mistake that creative entrepreneurs make is when they hit the wall and they know the business isn't as good as it could be because they're not running the business side of it. Then they overcourse correct and try to run the business the way an efficient operator would. And that was my learning lesson when I went from the partnered business and onto my own business. That was a moment at 53, 4 years old. That was a moment after running a business for 35 years. And I was like, oh, there's nobody saying to me every 25 seconds, did you this? Did you that? Did you this? Because he's such a, checklist guy. And so then I had to have the come to Jesus moment of, oh, and that was a mistake I made. I was like, oh, well, I'm going to have to be efficient. I'm going to have to open my emails every morning and I have to do this and I have to do that and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, Miss Efficient ADHD, 2:30 in the afternoon because you open your emails at 8:30. Nope. And it's been an incredible journey. You're going to meet Amber de la Garza at Power Talk Friday. She's coached me for 5.5 years on helping me understand that I didn't need help understanding that the things have to be done. but they don't have to be done the way some business book says they have to be done, or the way your previous partner or your previous boss did it. And to your point, that's where you have to zero in on, where are my superpowers? What am I good at? What do I need to be successful? And you find the people.
Yeah, you got
Like,
to plug the right people around you.
you
And you got
find
to
them.
profile
Diana
off
and
of.
Mariali would, in 100 years, never send me an email request. In 1,000 years, we'd never be like, we have this really important thing that we have to discuss, and it's a 5-alarm fire, because they know I'm never going to see the damn thing, you know? So it's like, it's just like the process for the book. You got to find the process that feels good for your right brain, creative brain, but you got to get it and you got to do it. You can't ignore it because it's hard, because it is hard, but you got to do it, and you can do it, and you can break the rules and do it your way.
No,
Yeah.
that's so well said. And I think it's so important, especially for that designer business owner audience who does, their brain does work differently. And I'm sitting here talking to two people who have kind of figured it out, their leadership style, what works for them. But I could see that designer who's sitting there at that growth marker right now. System and processes aren't sexy. Finding your routine is not fun. It doesn't light people up.
And
So
it's not easy.
no. So talk me
Yeah.
through that process of how you tried and maybe failed, but failed upwards to figure out, how it was going to work for you, what team members you needed around you, and what your superpowers were and how they could shine.
So here was a big fail moment, right? I'm running my company. I've started the podcast. I'm 3 years into it, and I write the second book. The first book comes out, it's out. I write the second book, and we're launching the second book at LuAnn Live. I end up organizing a 2.5-day conference. I've got 8 or 10 co-authors in the second book. It's the Power Talk Friday Experts book. Each one has a chapter on a different area of their superpower in the interior design or window treatment business. And we're going to have a conference, and every one of us is going to be a speaker, and we're going to have panel discussions and all the things. And the book is live this day. It's the first day that all the co-authors are seeing it, and everybody that attends is getting a copy of the book and all the things. Well, the event was a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Friday afternoon, in come all the co-authors from all over the parts of the U.S., and I'm going to have a little cocktail, champagne, because a lot of them I haven't even met in real life at this point, right? We've been working, like you guys, I haven't met you in real life yet, right? And so we come into my hotel suite, and we've got some champagne, and we just basically congratulate each other. Like, we made this book. Aren't we amazing? This is so much fun. We have this big event tomorrow. We've got 200 designers signed up to come. Yay, us. Aren't we wonderful? Well, we are about, I guess, maybe 25 minutes getting ready to go into this little get together. And somebody on my team brings to my attention that one of the co-authors' last name was spelled wrong on the book cover. I'm going to tell you what.
No.
You want to talk about, you've got to be kidding me, Willis moment. I was like, wait, what? And so I go into the party, and everybody's gathering, and it was Fred Burns. I pull Fred aside. And of course, they spelled it Burnes, and his name is Berns. And I'm like, Fred, man, I am so sorry. I just feel so horrible. And he was so gracious and so kind. And of course, the books are print on demand. So it wasn't like I had 40,000 copies of them. You know what I mean? I had 300 copies for the event. But here was the thing. The following Saturday, High Point Market invited me to do a keynote presentation in the theater and a book signing afterwards. And we had 500 books ready for that. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So not only does it cost me all the money for the books, because I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be like, hey, Fred, 500 designers are going to get your name spelled wrong. That's just gross, right? So, but here's what happens. This is Friday night. And my brain goes, if there's that mistake, are there other mistakes? Because I got to call now the publisher and be like, dude, blah, blah, blah. You got to fix the thing, and we got to do a reprint with Amazon, and I need 500 books by next week. The long story short is, there's one kid on my team that she says, Lou, she goes, I can do it. She goes, I am and there was no reason for us to ever know. This was WindowWorks team. I didn't have my own company over here, LuAnn Nigara Inc. yet. This was all through WindowWorks. And she's like, I can do it. Well, she sat there through 2 days of content, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, in the back of the room. The book is like 240 some pages, went through every single page, and at the end of it has documented 77 grammatical or typo mistakes. And I am like, you have got to be kidding me now. Like, you have got to be kidding me now. Like, this is bonkers. And I'm running a live event. I'm on stage from 9 in the morning till 9 at night. If you ask anybody that was at that LuAnn Live in New Jersey, I was literally on stage all day. And in between going, for a bio break, that, Adriana's like, I'm up to 42 and I'm up to 48. By the end of Sunday, she comes to me and she's like, I got it all done. There's 77. And I'm like, do me a favor, sweetie. Email it over to the publisher. You got to get this fixed. You got to tell them that we need it fixed overnight, because tomorrow morning I got to go onto Amazon and order 500 copies, and they got to be in High Point by Friday. So she goes and she gives them the thing. I have from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock of this event left on Friday. And I send the email in the morning and I'm like, we need a reprint on the book. I need a rush, and I'm like, is it happening in the back of my mind while I'm trying to be wonderful on stage and do all the things? We finished the event, and my cousin Eileen, who is a leadership expert, you'll meet Eileen, Shayna, in Power Talk Friday, and she is a behavioral expert. And she delves deep into your personalities and your superpowers. And so the event is over. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. We're going to have some lunch at the hotel restaurant. And she walks in and she looks at me and, wait till you meet her. She's all sunshine. Oh my God, are you so happy? Isn't that so great? What an amazing event. And I'm just looking at her like, yeah, I'm not having none of this. And she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, it is great. Don't get me wrong. I am thrilled. We pulled off a massive feat. The energy, the magic, it was amazing. It was good. I said, but I'm standing here and I'm saying to myself, when am I going to finally exercise some discipline? And she goes, what? She goes, you're like the most disciplined person I've ever met. Like, you run every week, you do yoga every week, you ride your bike, you eat right, you do all the things, you work your ass off. And I just said, now, girl, no. I said, because that book had 77 typos. And I said, and now I'm with my back against the wall. I just got off the phone with Amazon, and they're like, well, you can pay us an extra $500 and maybe it'll get there and maybe it won't. The paying for the rush doesn't guarantee it. It just guarantees that we'll rush it. It doesn't mean it will be rushed in time. And so now I'm down all the books that I bought that are wrong. Now I'm ordering new books. Now I'm paying for a rush that might end up with the books in High Point on Monday, which, by the way, it'll be over. And then I'm just going to have to ship them back to Jersey. And I am on fire mentally. And I look at her and I said, no, because you know what? She goes, well, who proofread the book? And I said, well, you see, isn't that the funny thing? When you pay to self-publish, because I paid a publisher to self-publish it. I'm saying, and she goes, so what's the problem? I said, well, there was a moment. And you know me, I wind everything back to the moment where I could have changed an outcome. And I said, and there was a moment 10 days ago where they were like, this has been through our proofreaders. Are you, now it's your turn to proofread it. And I said, and you know what I did? I glanced at it. I'm like, I'm not sitting here reading 240 pages looking for periods and commas and E's and O's. I'm like looking at it going, I got to do this? Like, this is what you do? I'm going to like overlook an expert is what I'm thinking. And I said, but you know what? At the end of the day, I just wouldn't put my head down and read my own darn book. And that's the moment she looked at me. She goes, you are processing this completely wrong. And I'm like, what? And she said, Lou, you have any skills for proofreading? And I'm like, pretty much not. And she's like, what do you think if you read that book? You think you would have picked up 77 errors? And I'm like, probably not. And she's like, the mistake isn't thinking that you have to show up differently. The mistake isn't thinking that you're less than because you wouldn't proofread your own book. The mistake was assigning the job to someone who's not qualified, and that's you. You are not qualified to do that. That's like waking up saying, sure wish I had blonde hair and blue eyes today. You're never going to wake up with blonde hair and blue eyes. You're never going to be a detail person. You are a visionary. The world needs visionaries. This entire event, 200 designers, 30 sponsors, all the magic in this space. This happened because of your superpowers. Never, ever, ever volunteer to proofread a single thing again. Find someone, pay someone, and do it. That was your mistake. And that was such a defining moment for me, because then I was like, anything that's too hard to do, I analyze first. Is this too hard because I'm frustrated and I'm just out of time? Is it too hard because it's really above my skill set? Is it too hard because I don't have the ability to even figure this out? Or is it too hard because I just don't feel like it? Because there are some times you just got to put your big girl panties on and do the thing. But if it's too hard because actually I can't do an SAT problem, but I could do a Sunday crossword puzzle, like it's like, get clear as a leader what your strengths are and literally lean in and hire the people around you, and don't have accountability. Did you read my book? Did you do it? Everything now. I'm like, they look at me, how do you like this graphic? I don't care. I don't know. I don't think about the graphics you create. I don't know what looks good art-wise. I don't know if it's spelled right. I don't know if that's the date I'm going to be there. Don't show it to me. Nicole Heimer builds me website after website. What do you think? I think it's great. Whatever. Diana, Mariali, Dana. Read the site. I'm not in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even pretend anymore that I should buckle down. I should find the moment and buckle down. And so that's a huge thing. But the learning lesson that comes out of it is do your highest value activities. Lean in.
Yeah.
Own them.
I think the big moral between, business one, you had a strategic partner, right? And the way you define that strategic partner is Evelyn to me. That's truly that strong executor, thrives in the weeds, honestly, the big long email that you're like, yeah, not me, not going to read it, too much, but so much value, so organized. Yeah. Like you need that other half. So the lesson in this second business is now you took the journey on your own, which is only further strengthened everything that, kind of was a gift, to enter with some form of process. And there's a lot of programs out there. It's kind of like a franchise equals some of these programs, right? That other coaches have created. Similar, right? Yeah. Same thing. Here's a process.
Plug and play. Yeah.
Well, and the truth is, within 18 months, we were not running by the franchises process. We weren't. Right. Okay. There was a skeleton of it. The difference is in what you're saying and what the hindsight observation is that for all the 35, 40 years that we were in WindowWorks, I showed up in my lane. I'm the salesperson. I'm the human relations. I did the hiring. I did the team meetings. I did the hard conversations with the clients. I did the hard conversations with the employees. I did the training. He did the strategy. He did the numbers. He did the finance. And what happens is when you have the both sides, until the one side was removed, because it wasn't like I wasn't involved in what he was doing. We lived and breathed the business 24/7. We were constantly talking about it. But when it came time to be like, maybe here's what's happening now. Oh my God. The health insurance policy has increased by $36,000 from $56,000 to whatever $36,000 is over that in a year. And we're like, rah, 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 and we're talking about it. And he's like, and what do we need? And what kind of coverage do we need? And what blah. But when the conversation is done, there isn't either one of us thinks I'm picking up the phone to call the insurance company. He knows that's him. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the thing. You have to have that, Evelyn. You have to have
that.
Right,
you need to have two types of executors. Yeah. You need to have your strategic partnerships, which we would call our executive program, who can have that conversation and call the insurance company on that very high level and knows what they're talking about.
Right.
But then you also need your day to day, right? That you trust to do, get the stuff done, and do it professionally and do it in the way that you would do it yourself, in a sense, as an extension of yourself. And then this business growth is just really kind of a subdivision of splicing out your company. As it grows, you are just splicing out individual leadership roles to thin out the responsibilities that maybe one person had, and as someone starts to drown, you have to not place blame. You have to evaluate, okay, we're growing. This is good. 100%. This is a good thing. However, I need to take a little bit off and we need to splice this role, because thinning out responsibilities and saying, okay, now, it's our belief that at minimum, a fully developed interior design business needs about 9 people on that team doing their day to day, with carrying about 2 responsibilities throughout that project load. So that 1, we hit the mark and we can execute and top perform. But 2, now you have multiple balls juggling, multiple priorities can get done. You have some hybrid support inside of that where someone can jump into another lane, just one other lane. If that person is drowning, vacation, things happen, right? You have that support. And you have this whole process that's created to make these 9 people also communicate amongst each other, so that you're not
checks and balances. If one person's responsible for everything, then no one is proofreading that, in a sense. If one person's making a mistake, it's going all the way down the trail, as opposed to getting caught by that team member.
Every process has to have multiple touch points by multiple people, so that, and what I've said for 100 years in our business is, this isn't about finding where you screwed up. This isn't about placing blame. Think about this as someone else has your back. You know what I mean? Because for us at WindowWorks, we would constantly be like, you as a salesperson can't go from selling it to ordering it. It's got to go through the scrub process. Oh, well, beat about. I don't need somebody to check my work. I'm like, sweetie, but you do. Because you're a regular garden variety human, and today might be the day that you're going to have a mistake and it might cost us $15K. So don't look at this as being a put upon. Look at this as a safety net. You know what I mean? And by the way, it's the process. So do it.
Yeah. I think it comes down to right partnerships, right, on that high level, creation of process developed around your strengths that you are plugging in a team to support you and hold you accountable, do the things also you're not that great at, right? Let that go. You have to shine a light and be like, I need to figure out how I can give my business the time it needs from the top leadership perspective, so that they can build out the foundation as I want, so that in turn, I can show up for my assistant team and have clean processes so they can succeed. Because if your assistant staff is not succeeding and not feeling good, it's not always about money. It's how you feel throughout your day. If you don't feel like you're winning, and you don't feel like you're winning, it's like the blame game. Why didn't you do this? Like, it's a wrap. They're out, and it's just not a fit, And something really interesting you said, LuAnn, was that you've integrated, and this is something Power Talk Friday, and we're going to start talking about this event that we're, going and speaking at with you. But something that's involved in that event is, the test called, right? Your test that you use to test the leadership and personality traits, and
the predictive index.
Yeah,
well, that was what Eileen is a predictive index certified consultant, right?
Right.
And so she's very, very, very acutely aware of my predictive index combination of skill sets and personality traits. And I had been explained to it, and I had been told that, you really don't have a capacity for detail, but I had interpreted as, well, really, that's just like, I don't exercise the discipline to be detailed. And that was when she was like, no, girl, that's like wishing you had blonde hair. You can't wish for a personality that attends to detail. You are it or you're not it. And you are not it. Like, but then that's what she was so quick to say. But this is your superpower, persuasion and sales and visionary and big picture. She goes, the people that are really, really good at operations and process and detail, they would have nothing to do if there weren't people like you to create the ideas for them to do. So she really helps you understand. And that's what we're going to do at Power Talk Friday. Whenever Eileen's at a Power Talk Friday, everybody gets to take it. It's a very expensive test to take. You can't just sign up for it. It's not like another test you can go online and do. And then you've got the two certified counselors, certified consultants for it, Jennifer and Eileen, to literally sit down with you and be like, tell me about my strengths. Like, what should I be leaning into and what should I stop hitting myself over the head and trying to get a different result out of myself on?
Right.
It's eye-opening.
We really want to give LuAnn enough time to talk about Power Talk
Yes.
Friday. We're so, so excited for it. But before we do, let's wrap this up because it sounds like you guys are saying the growth markers never stop coming. But when you know your leadership style, when you know what your strengths are, when you plug the right people around you, you get better at meeting them. So if every growth marker is going to come, and if every growth marker is a test of that, what's the lesson you hope designers walk away with after listening today?
I think that to understand that if it feels overwhelming, if it does feel like you're underwater, there is a path out. You don't have to be the one with all the answers. It's companies like 4D Biz, it's other opportunities, but there is a way out, and don't fight your natural superpowers. Work in them, understand who you are, work in them, and fill yourself around it. But it's like, it's funny because somebody said to me recently, it's going good. I'm making money, but when is it going to get easy? And I'm like, it's still work, girl. I mean, like, it's not like sitting on a beach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even sitting on the beach all day isn't easy. It gets hot, the sand comes, the flies come. Like, why is easy the criteria, right? Like, to me, it's a puzzle. It's a challenge. Can I run my business better today than I did yesterday based on the people I meet, the conversations I have, the things I read, the things I listen to? What can I bring in to make it better? And that's it. It's a puzzle every darn day, and it's a decision every darn day. I end every single podcast episode with decide to be excellent, because it's not a platitude. It's like, listen, it takes a decision to decide to show up and do it. Are you ready to make that decision? Decide to be excellent. So I just give yourself grace, but do the work.
I love that. I think a lot of this is what Power Talk Friday is all about. So can you walk us through the event and what we can expect from that?
Yeah. So Power Talk Friday, I've been doing this since 2017. It's a one-day coaching event, and it's called Power Talk Friday because my Friday shows for the first probably 7-8 years of the podcast would always be a consultant of some sort from some area of business teaching us a thing, how to run the design or the window treatment model better. And so then the book became the Power Talk Friday Experts. And then and of course the Power Talk Friday tour was before the books, but it's each event, it's different experts. So this event, you guys will be there, which is great. And we've got Eileen, my cousin, and we've got Donna Hoffman, who is the interior design advocate, and we've got Amber de la Garza, who is the productivity specialist. Okay. And am I missing any? Yes. And we have Andrea Libros, who is, her thing is leadership and leaning into and really identifying who you are as a leader, right? So it's going to work out really well because Shayna will open it up with these growth markers. She'll open it up and talk about the different areas in business and what are the pain points at this level that master them? What are the pain points at this level? Guess what? You have another challenge. And what are the pain points at this level? And they're very easy and identifiable. But until you've been through them, it sort of feels like, why is this happening to me? It's like, no, happens to every business. And it's easier if you know it's going to happen because you can anticipate and you can mitigate. And then what'll happen is Andrea will come on and talk about that CEO mindset, and she will give that setting for, so this is what this is the growth, this is the the things that you're going to run into, and what do we got to do to shore you up so you're prepared to mentally take it on and not do the kinds of things that I did. Expect things of yourself that shouldn't be there. And then Eileen will come on and she will talk about the right seats and the right butt, the right butts and the right seats. And how do you put the team together once you have a feeling of where you are in the growth marker stage, what you need, what's your challenges as a CEO. And then how can you, whether it's an in-person team, a virtual team, a part-time team, who do you need to support you? And then Amber will come on and Amber will give you that whole, all right, now you got 19 to-dos. How are we going to put it into your life? How are you going to tackle this? And she's really, really good at helping you sift through high priority things to do, high ROI things to do. And girl, don't waste your time over here. Okay, please. It's a great idea. Shayna had a great idea. It would be like me going, I'm going to go back and I'm going to edit my book. It's like, no, girl, don't do that. Right. And so it's helping you understand where your time is best spent and how to maximize the time that you have for the things that are going to make the best and the most difference in your business. And then, of course, I'm there to do what I always do, which is just to pick it apart, go further, take a learning lesson. And if the room has got somebody in the room that's doing $200,000 a year in gross revenue and somebody that's doing 3 million, I'm going to turn it on its head. Like if you're doing 3 million, this is what this looks like. If you're only in your first year or two of your business, this is what this is going to look like. And then the afternoon is all roundtables. So it will be up to only 3 attendees per expert, and you will have 30 minutes with every single expert after learning from them all morning, meeting with them at breakfast and at lunch and the coffee breaks and being like, okay, this is the thing I wanted to come here and learn from you. Like, how do I this? Or how does your company help me that? Or what am I doing wrong here because I keep hitting the same roadblock? And then we take a break for a couple of hours. Eileen and Jennifer do sit down with anybody who's there and really give them a free consultation on their predictive index so that they can learn a little bit about themselves as owners and leaders and entrepreneurs. And then we come back and we have dinner and we relax and we have a cocktail party and we just kind of like decompress from the day. But it is also a nice time where if you are a designer or a window treatment person and something that Shayna said really hit you between the eyes and you didn't get a chance to dig it out with her, you can sit down with her at dinner and like, okay, help me with this. You know what I mean? And so, you can learn about it at powertalkfriday.com. And we've done it, like I said, I think a dozen times. It's a transformational day. It's really a very much in the weeds because we limit the attendees to 18. I'm not doing this with 50 or 100 people. We've got 6 of us experts and 8 up to 18 people. So it's a lot of feedback. I always say, when you're in a big room, like a big panel discussion, at one time, somebody had a panel discussion, literally a panel discussion in High Point. And we were talking about process and systems and this and that and the other thing. And somebody raised their hand and said, I'd like to ask the panel if they could outline the best process for running a new build project. And I literally did an exorcist head turn at the panelists. And I'm like, absolutely do not answer that question. I'm like, and I turned around and I said, I love you. I've got compassion for you, but that's not a question at a panel discussion, my friend. We teach that for 5 weeks at LuAnn University. This is not a 5-minute event, right? And so there's times when you're in a panel or you're at a conference and it feels too weird. That person didn't think it felt weird, but she should have, it feels too weird to ask a question about your business. But there has to be the events in our industry that are small enough, that are designed for you to say. In fact, what we do is we send everybody a survey the week before, and we're like, these are the superpowers of your experts. Think about the specific questions for your business that they're likely to own the answer to. Come in with the question. Don't sit there and go, wow, Shayna and Evelyn, they're amazing. They're really good at process. And they really, and then be like, I wish I knew what to ask them. It's like, no. Come with the question. Come with what you want to know about the weeds of your business so that you leave with a plan.
I love that. That's amazing. And then I think on the flip side, some people feel less intimidated in a big room. I'm here to learn. I have my notebook. I'm not going to get a spotlight on me. What would you say to that interior designer to give them that confidence? This is the space for them.
I love that you brought that up. Thank you for bringing that up. I've had people say to me, I'm only in business 6 months. I don't know if I'm ready to come. I've had people say, I'm in business 15 years. I don't know that I need to come. And the truth is that for that first part of the question, that is why the room is so small. And that's why I have so many experts, so that it doesn't matter if you're my peer and you run a $3, $4, $5 million business. I've been there. I've done that. It doesn't matter if you're at the beginning of your journey. One time I had somebody who had attended a Power Talk Friday. Miss Jenny Slingerland, who teaches the design for construction class at LU University. She came, I think she might have been a year or two in her own business at that point. And we were standing next to each other at High Point, and somebody said, oh, I was going to come to your Power Talk Friday, but I don't think I'm ready for it yet. And Jenny looked at her and said, no. Why do you want to go and figure it all out and make all the mistakes on your own? She goes, I went in my first 18 months in business, and the things that it set me on the right path. And then I had Robin Burrell come. She runs a $5 million business, in business more than 30 plus years. And a peer asked her, why do you bother going to Power Talk Friday still? And she's like, are you kidding me? The think tank in that room? And so it's for you wherever you are in your business. It is designed to be hands-on. And then how can you know that you won't feel funny and that you won't feel safe? I could just tell you, I give you my word. I mean, if you listen to my show, if you've ever been at a live event with me, I'm not the what are you doing here person, right? Now, yes, I'm sassy, and I will look at you when you ask me for a 5-hour discussion on a process in a panel. But like that, and then you know what I did? I walked up to her afterwards, and I said, come with me, because Jenny is here at this panel, and she teaches this. And just have a couple seconds with her. Maybe she can give you the answer you were looking for, or at least she'll point you in a direction, or you'll come to LU University. But it's like, I'm always going to take care of you. Like I am. I just am. And it's a small enough room to do that.
That's awesome. Well, we're so excited.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to having you guys there. It's going to be great.
It's our first live event.
Yeah. Your audience and you're not your employees, what do we call it? The people who use your platform.
Our clients. Yeah.
Your clients. Duh. Yeah. The word went right out of my head.
It's confusing in this industry because people think of clients as the design clients.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you? I know what they are. What are they? I'm like, So your clients, your audience, listeners of your podcast, like if they've been wanting to meet you, this is the chance,
Yeah, for sure. We're leaving the babies. And we're showing up.
I know.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, LuAnn, for joining us. It means the world that you're coming on this early in the series. I hope everyone joins us at Power Talk. It is a rare, I feel like, moment these days to have these live events still happening and have that intimate time. And especially, like LuAnn said, at the dinner, where you can really build that relationship and dive a bit deeper into the day. So I look forward to everyone who's going to show up there and get our little cocktail hour on at the end of the evening. I can thrive in that space. Awesome.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. This was fun talking with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
As we wrap up, you've just heard all about the Power Talk Friday tour. What makes it special, who's going to be there, and why it's such a game changer for designers ready to grow. If today's conversation sparked something for you, we'd love to see you there in person. It's a unique chance to connect, learn, and take the next steps in your business journey at your own pace and with a community that gets it.
You know the value of being in the room with industry leaders, getting hands-on advice, and connecting with a community that truly understands your journey. We'll be there, ready to work with you directly, and so will LuAnn and the rest of the expert team. This is your chance to get the support, clarity, and momentum you need.
Tickets are limited for a reason, so everyone gets real personalized attention. If you've been waiting for the right moment to invest in yourself and your business, this is it. See you Friday, October 24th at High Point.
Head to luannigara.com/4dbiz right now to grab your ticket before they're gone. You can use code PTF Shayna for $300 off your ticket. We can't wait to meet you, help you tackle your growth markers, and celebrate your next big win together.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the Power Talk Friday tour.